Welcome back to another episode of the Weekly InSalt. My name is Wade Lassen. I'll be your host. I'm joined, as always, with my co-host, Laura Coppola, and the Vice President of Sound,
That's
Kurt
right.
Wallstrom.
Yes.
That's right.
VP of Sound.
I'm super excited about tonight. We have an awesome guest. Some of you might find the name familiar, maybe not. Mike Lookinland. Welcome to the show.
That's me.
Thank you for being here.
Hi, you guys. It's nice to meet you.
Yeah, you as well. This is a super exciting show, and the way that it happened is even more exciting for us because today I can officially announce something we've been working on for months and months and months.
Long time, yeah.
The Pearl on Main in Midvale is now officially a sponsor of the Weekly InSalt podcast.
Yay.
Yeah, good work, everybody. That took us a long time to prepare for.
Mm-hmm.
Now that it's here, things like this can happen with you, Mike. Before we had a relationship with them, we had talked about, their venue is just starting up. They're trying to find people to play at their venue, and then maybe we can throw in a little podcast to help promote that for people that have shows there. A show which you do have with the Pranksters, your band, on Friday. I think it's at
This Friday.
This Friday, the
10th.
November 10th.
Do you know what time it's at? I think
7.
Doors at 7. We'll start at 8. And the Pranksters are the start right on time band. We will start at by 8:03.
Yeah,
Nice.
good.
Yeah,
good.
because we play such long damn shows.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, it's a lot. It's a lot for my little brain to remember.
Yeah, and it's just nice to get the show on the road, and then get it out there early.
Right.
And the Pearl's on 7711.
Yes, it
South
is.
Main and Midvale, right?
7711.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've actually got a pair of tickets to your show that we're going to give away that we'll give more details about that in a little bit.
That's great. But this one drops, you do some editing, right?
I do very little editing, but
I've been known to need, substantial amounts of editing.
I can help with that.
I'm the king. I'm the king of the long, rambling, unusable,
No, not
unusable story. But podcasts are different.
Yeah.
Podcasts, you can get away with long, rambling,
100%.
otherwise
Yes, you
unusable
can.
stories.
Yep. Let's talk about your band a little bit. The Pranksters is a Grateful Dead tribute band. How did this whole thing get started?
I'm one of the original founding members. We still have 3 out of the 5. And it was a Craigslist thing.
Oh, really?
Really?
Like a drummer and a guitar player found each other on Craigslist, and it kind of grew from there.
That's awesome.
But boy, it's been a long journey to get to where I am. I'm pretty old, and but I've been playing piano since I was 6.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom claims that I could hold my part in 3-part harmony, vocal harmony.
Oh, really?
When I was 3.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's kind of just really out there and
I'm
weird.
so jealous that you can play piano.
It's kind of, up until, my rock and roll Grateful Dead career is quite recent.
Mm-hmm.
In its in its initiation. I used to only be able to play piano by slapping a piece of music in front of me.
Yeah.
On paper. You know what music
the
looks
sheet
like.
music, yeah.
Printed music and looking at the paper and playing what it said on the paper. That's how I played.
Mm-hmm.
And God forbid I should try to sing and play at the same time. That was not even on the menu.
Yeah.
And
Do you still play that way?
there was a I can sight read. I'm not as quick at it as I used to be.
Yeah.
But I was working on a TV show here called Everwood. We filmed Everwood here.
Mm-hmm.
If you had a teenage daughter at the time, you knew what Everwood was.
Yeah.
Other than that,
Yeah.
it was made by the same people that did Dawson's Creek.
Okay.
Remember?
Makes sense.
Everybody
Yeah.
knows Dawson's Creek, but when you say Everwood, they go, "Oh, yeah."
It sounds familiar.
Well, anyway, Treat Williams was the lead.
Okay.
He played a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And it was set in a small town in Colorado and called Everwood, and we filmed it here. Anyway, he decided that for season 2 or 3 or whichever, we were going to have at the wrap party. We were going to have a band, but the band was going to be crew members.
Okay. Yeah.
gonna be us.
That's awesome.
And they knew I could play the piano, and the Dolly Grip was a good drummer. Treat played the guitar, and for that I had to go buy a portable piano.
Okay.
Because all my pianos up till then had, weighed 1,000 pounds.
Oh,
and
yeah.
had actual real strings on them.
Mm-hmm.
But so Treat Williams forced my hand to get an electric piano and learn how to play rock and roll without reading it off the paper.
Yeah.
And the rest is
history.
Gets us to where we are now. Unfortunately, somebody took out Treat on his motorcycle in Vermont,
Mm-hmm.
and he's no longer with us.
Oh no!
Somebody ran him down. He was out riding his motorcycle.
That's too bad.
Yeah, so I had to put that little bit of a bummer in here. What minute are we at before I told a bummer of a story?
We're at 5.
But
5.
So how long have you been playing?
The Pranksters formed in 2018, I believe, and we play in Park City. We play a lot of ski resorts. We played Snowbird. We play at Powder Mountain quite a lot. The lead guitar player is from North Ogden.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So we've got some connections up in Ogden. There's great venues up there, mostly bars.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, we're playing at Kamikaze's on December 1st.
Okay. Yeah.
Have you heard of that place?
I have. Yeah. I have.
That's been there for as long as we've been around.
Yeah.
But I've been playing piano since I was 6 years old.
Yeah.
We didn't have a TV when I got the job. Did we ever? We haven't mentioned the Brady Bunch connection.
No, we haven't.
yet, have we?
we
Yeah, we
haven't.
can.
Not
Okay.
yet.
Well, my for those of you who didn't know, I played Bobby on the Brady Bunch,
Yeah.
and I've been
forget?
at Salt Lake.
Everybody
I've been
knows
a
the
Salt
Brady
Laker.
Bunch.
I know.
I moved to Utah in 1978 to tell my parents I was going to college, but where I really went was Snowbird.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Right? There's a lot of people like that.
Yep.
And they still live here.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, doing TV series here, invariably some of the actors have never heard of Utah.
Yeah.
They end up living in Park City.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
We attract the large crowd.
We do.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. Mhm.
But I don't know where was I going with that? Can't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
It had to do with.
We didn't own a television. My family did not own a television, believe it or not, until I got the job on the Brady Bunch.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Huh.
at least that's the family lore.
Yeah.
But my mom was she was a school teacher.
Mm-hmm.
She said we have a record player and we have books. We don't need a TV.
Yeah. That's fair.
That's the family I grew up in.
Wow.
Yeah, but right. So, I mean, I like my iPad and my iPhone as much as the next guy, but I still have that in my DNA that I can sit in silence.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm happy to be bored or just self-entertained.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't need constant input.
Sometimes the phone gets way too much for me, and I think we talked briefly before the show about how sad it is when you're sitting in a restaurant and you realize that like nobody's really paying attention to
They're
each
not
other. They're all on their
socializing.
phone. They don't talk anymore.
Yeah.
The internet's just one of those things that we're lucky we have it, but it's kind of like you got to turn it off sometimes.
You do.
I agree.
Unhook. Off hook.
I agree. If you're working by yourself, like, I'm pulling nails out of a hardwood floor tomorrow again. I put on my noise canceling headphones and put on a podcast or music, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But man, yeah, if you're on a date and you're checking your
Yeah. Not cool.
Instagram, yeah.
Sorry, I think I cut you off.
You did. I was going to ask if your whole family was musically inclined or played instruments, if that was part of the growing up experience.
Yeah, very much so, and including onto my own children who are both musicians in their own right.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I think that's true. It's always good to start young. I feel like when I started playing the drums, I started in sophomore year of high school, so I always kind of felt like I was behind. But I didn't really look at it that way. I think that being a musician and then performing on stage it teaches you so many things in life, because from making mistakes playing drums, I stopped getting embarrassed when I said something stupid in a group of friends, or like, it was built that confidence that like all the eyes are on me and you might make a mistake and that's okay.
Of all the guys in my band, I have the least. I have by far the most experience in the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
But I have by far the least experience playing live music with other people
Yeah.
Right.
on stage. because I always just played for myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it nice playing in a group?
Oh, it's
you
great,
love it?
but you have to learn to get along.
Yeah.
And that doesn't just mean, smiles and fun time. It means get along musically and get along we live far apart.
Mm-hmm.
When we want to do band practice at Rich's house, it's a 110-mile round trip.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But it's a 110-mile round trip for him every time we play in Midvale.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of getting along.
Compromise.
And it's funny. It's funny because I keep saying to myself, I'm going to add up all my hours. The driving and the prep and the setup and then the breakdown and the driving and the practicing, and see what my hourly is when I get my the X number of $100. When then we divide it up by 5, right?
Yeah.
Or 6 because we pay the merchandise person to sell T-shirts. You should buy a T-shirt. They're very nice.
Yeah.
And I've been telling myself I need to calculate my hourly because I guarantee you it's well below minimum wage. So
I'm sure.
So at least at this point, the way it works is you're not in it for the money.
Exactly.
Oh, no.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of times you're losing money, and
Yeah.
and really that's why bands sell merchandise. And a lot of people are like, I can't believe that they're selling. I went to a Bad Religion concert recently, and they were selling a hoodie for like $90, and it's like
ridiculous.
Well, that's where they make their money these days. Now, I mean, even making money off of a song is probably not what it used to be. When it's played on the radio. And
when you pay for something, you're paying for the light bill.
Yeah.
And the property taxes.
Yeah.
And all those the miles of cables that have to run between the amplifiers and just whatever. But I know from sitting on stage, I know also from attending concerts locally, that there is great enthusiastic pent up demand for live music.
Yeah, there is.
There's just nothing like it.
Nope, there really isn't.
And local music.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I gave a girl who she looked like she might be on board. I gave her a Pranksters sticker.
I
said, "Here, you look like you could use one of these." And she says, "Oh, Pranksters, okay." I said, "So come and see us. We're playing at blah blah. A week from Friday." And she said, "Well, tell you what." Oh no, that's not what it was. What I said to her was, "Now you can't just put this sticker in a drawer. These are valuable.
Yeah.
You got to stick it on something." And her response was, "Well, I'll come see you next Friday, and if you don't suck, then maybe I'll think about it." I was like, "Okay,
yeah,
that's a deal.
Yeah, that is a deal.
Yeah, I'll take that. That wager."
And I think it's we talked a little bit on the phone before we recorded tonight, but I think that it's really great that the Pearl is starting to bring like that music venue back in Midvale and those little places, because not everybody wants to go to a concert at the Maverick Center or at the Delta Center where the acoustics are horrible anyway.
Right.
Why not go to see some of these local bands like the Pranksters? And it's an intimate venue. It's smaller. You're going to have a great time. Things are generally, like, concessions are going to be a little bit cheaper at a place like that than they are at a huge stadium. And then I think it's just a great night when
it
live
is,
music is. It just
and
makes you feel so much better.
It's a great joint to hang out in.
And
Yeah.
you've had those guys on this podcast.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they are sharp.
They are.
They are young and ready to kick it.
They are. Yeah, they've done a lot of work.
And I always think of my job in the movie business after the acting was I was a camera technician.
Mm-hmm.
And basically what it amounts to was it was my job to prevent disasters so that nobody ever knew that it was about to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Put out fires before they start.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, when I go into a place like that, I start looking at, what's going to go wrong? What are we going to prevent before it happens so that nobody even knew it was ever even a thing?
Yeah.
Right.
And what I'm getting at is parking.
Yeah.
Because if you Google maps, space Google, it doesn't look like there's any place to park. But that is not true.
That's not true.
Come down to the Pearl, turn east on First Avenue. There's a big old parking lot behind the grocery store. And I even asked the guys, I said, now, do we park there and hope it's cool? They said, no. That's a public parking lot.
Oh, okay. Good.
That is for the city of Midvale. Or you park on the street.
Yeah, you can. And I think depending on the time of day you're there, you could look at Main Street and think, oh, man, I can't find a place to park. But that parking lot in the back there always has open space. It always does. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My building's up around the corner. That's why I knew where the Pearl was.
Yeah.
When they first approached our band, I guess it was on Facebook. I'd have to take their word for it because you won't find me checking Facebook.
Yeah, right.
I'm not a complete turd. I'm not a total Luddite. But I can live without Facebook.
Yeah,
I can do it.
I don't think
I'm
there's anything
living
wrong with
proof that a human being cannot not have Facebook.
Yeah.
Anyway, they contacted us, and I said, that sounds, what, blah, 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 South Main Street in Midvale. That sounds familiar. And it's literally like 6 blocks from the building I own that I used to run my company out of.
Yeah. Yeah. Was that the company that you were doing decorative concrete work with?
I made architectural concrete, which is as opposed to structural concrete. Right. Which means countertops, tabletops, fireplace, fascia. There are many condos up in Park City that have my stair treads in them.
Oh, that's cool.
Custom concrete floating stair treads.
That's awesome.
We did sort of a niche architectural concrete thing.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
I made a lot of bath vanities with the sinks, one piece with the sink and the vanity. Mm-hmm. Very nice stuff.
Yeah, and that
you don't
stuff
do that anymore?
I'm recently retired.
Nice.
During COVID, I was sitting at home and I looked over at my wife and I said, "Hey, honey, how about if I just retire?" And she looked back at me and said, "Okay."
Yeah.
I was like, boom.
Yes, I'm out of here.
Yes.
And I'll tell you what, that decorative concrete stuff is harder to do than it seems. It's not just slapping it together.
Well, the name of my company started out as an inside joke.
Oh, really?
Yeah. My company's called Just Add Water.
Okay.
Just Add Water Custom Concrete. And here's the joke. When you go to Home Depot and look at a bag of concrete mix, 80-pound bag of ready mix, it says right on the bag in big, bold capital letters, just add water. And there is like 40 other things you got to do besides adding water to make it work right.
Oh, yeah.
Make it come out right.
Yeah.
So it started out as a joke, but people remember it, so I kept it.
Yeah. I want to go back to the Grateful Dead because before the show, you mentioned how many concerts you've been to.
I started counting at around 50 when I realized maybe I should start counting. And I came out to 119 Grateful Dead concerts altogether.
Do you remember your first one?
Oh, yeah, very much so. From 1978 through when they were done. Last time I saw them was at the Delta Center in 1995.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, where was the first one?
It was at Pauley Pavilion, which is UCLA's basketball arena.
Oh, okay.
1978.
Cool. Wow.
And boy, I don't know. Every Deadhead has a what sparked their what was the spark?
Yeah, that's where I was going.
And and I can't really say for sure. It was sort of like this whole. It was so different because I lived in LA. And I had like an in with like a ticket broker, which now is all done online, and you just pay fees and you get whatever. But in LA, I had a ticket broker that Barry Williams, who's the guy that played Greg on the Brady Bunch, he turned me on to this ticket broker, and it was like, top secret, way to get front row seats. And so I thought I was pretty hot, and at 16 years old in my new Toyota Celica. Yep. And but anyway, I went to see. Led Zeppelin and I'm drawing a blank. I went to see all the only band you could name that I regret not having gone to see was I never got to see Pink Floyd.
Oh yeah.
Which is weird because I saw like all the rest of them, and but the Grateful Dead did something different, starting with Jerry only wore black T-shirts.
Yeah.
And at no point did anyone ever come up to the microphone and say, Cincinnati, Ohio! How y'all doing tonight? That was not a thing. It didn't happen. They just played music.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the songs aren't about what a bitch it is to try to get along with your girlfriend.
Yeah.
They ended up with a few of those, but they're just like stories. I think it's another reason why I got into the to bluegrass.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because you're just there for the music.
Yeah.
And then when you're with 2,000 or 5,000 or 50,000 other people who are just there for the music, you're all there. Like you can walk into a venue in Providence, Rhode Island, or in Eugene, Oregon. And when you walk through that door, you are with your people.
Yeah.
And it's just such a cool feeling. And then, the Grateful Dead comes on and entertains you for 30 minutes.
Nothing wrong with that.
3 hours and 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was actually kind of looking at some of the Grateful Dead stuff last night, and your band is called the Pranksters, and they were kind of associated with the Merry Pranksters.
Right.
And so I kind of figured that's how the band name kind of spawned in a way.
The drummer's license plate is PRNKSTR.
Oh, okay.
Which is seven, right?
Yeah.
How do you get 7? I guess you can do 7 now.
I think you can. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The N is kind of narrow. So anyway, that was one reason.
One reason.
And yeah, we're the married pranksters.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I swear to God, between the 5 of us, I did the math. I can't remember how it came out, but it was like pushing 200 years of marriage between the 5 of us.
Oh,
wow.
jeez.
Swear to God.
Wow. Yeah. Well,
congratulations.
I
account personally for 37 of that.
Yeah. Wow. That's a long time.
That is a long time.
I met my cute wife at the U of U at a keg party.
Oh, no kidding.
Kegger.
Huh. And then you're just
in the Avenues.
Gotta marry this
funny.
girl.
Kegger in the Avenues. And I swear to you guys, it was when I saw her, I said to myself, she's the one.
Yeah. You just knew.
And and luckily I was able to.
Did you have to convince her
to marry me, hang around with me? I showed one of my sons a picture of her. I think she was in the gondola, the old gondola in Park City.
Yeah.
And she was just sitting across from me, and man, she's just so cute. And I held that up to my 20-something or teenage son, and I said, can you believe that I could get a girl that looks like that to hang around with me?
Yeah.
And he just rolled his eyes. I was like, oh, Dad, stop it. That's gross. That's like my mother, man. Come on.
Oh, man. And a lot of that time spent in the Salt Lake Valley, and we had a short discussion about how much it's changed. I remember growing up here when Harriman seemed like it was so far away.
Yeah.
There was nothing out there.
Like pack a lunch drive.
Yeah. And I'm sure you've seen even way more changes than I have.
Old Bingham Highway that goes out on the diagonal is like, road to
nowhere.
Yeah.
Just to nowhere.
I still have all my season passes from Snowbird.
Oh, really?
Except for 1981. So something about 1981 was a little extra off the rails.
Yeah.
Because my pass didn't make it into the drawer. But when I moved into the dorms at the U, there was one stoplight between my pillow in the morning and Snowbird.
Oh, really?
Believe it or
Wow.
not. I mean, you can't try to picture that now.
Yeah.
No
way.
Can't even imagine it.
No way.
I have a lot of I'm old stories. I'm really old. I think it was at the corner of Foothill and Sunnyside.
Okay.
Yep.
Right up there, just south of the U.
Yeah.
And there was no 215.
No.
You got on Wasatch.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you did Wasatch the whole way.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's
I can't
right
even
above
imagine
the
that.
baseball park, right?
Yeah, talk about changes.
Yeah.
And the Midvale now, I was in Midvale when the baseball field down there became City Hall.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that the baseball field that they filmed The Sandlot at?
No, that one's in South Salt Lake.
It's in South Salt Lake.
Yeah.
Okay. And I know that the Midvale Main Street is a very popular place for filming things.
I filmed
yeah. There was a baseball field there?
right where the new City Hall is.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Now there's a big apartment building, and City Hall's nice.
Yeah. It is really nice.
There's the senior center there.
Yep.
I'm not opposed to change as long as it's improved change.
Absolutely.
Stupid change, I'm not so big of a fan of.
Yeah.
But the apologies to who's ever occupying the old city hall. You guys might know, but the what I heard was why they built a new one was because that one is folly downy in an earthquake.
Oh, huh.
That would be going to fall down when there's an earthquake. What is it? Unreinforced masonry is a thing around here.
That's true.
One of the houses I own that my wife and I first bought when we first got married. We still own it, and it's unreinforced masonry.
Yeah.
If there's a good enough earthquake, it's laying on the ground. You want a wood house.
Yeah.
This one's wood.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep, it is. Yeah.
Frame. Wood frame.
And that was the crazy thing about, you mentioned COVID just briefly, but that was so crazy when they were like, everybody stay in your house, and then we got hit with that earthquake.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And then that kind of was
It woke me up.
It woke me up too.
Yeah. I remember thinking like, just for a split second, like, because it sounded like somebody was trying to get in the door, and I'm like, who's in my house? And I'm like, oh, we're having an earthquake. We don't get those very often, not nearly as often as like LA would, but
I've been woken up by more than one earthquake.
Yeah.
I used to build model airplanes like a good 10-year-old, Cub Scout, and we'd hang them from the ceiling in my bedroom. And I lived in San Pedro. You familiar with LA at all?
Yeah.
I grew up down in San Pedro.
Okay.
And I woke up and all the planes hanging from my ceiling on strings were going like this.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
I'm waving my hands back and forth.
Yep.
And my dad rushed in and I'm laying in bed just looking at the ceiling and the planes are going, whoo, woo, woo.
You're like, this is awesome.
This is cool.
Yeah, and then from there you spend the rest of the day watching the news and seeing which freeway collapsed.
Yeah,
jeez. Yeah, that was crazy.
And there was a few.
Yeah, and you never know when that's going to happen. That's the scary thing about earthquakes. I mean, that would have been the worst possible time to have a bad earthquake is during COVID. Oh,
right.
everybody stay in your house. And then earthquakes.
I don't want to be in my house now.
It's the last place you should be if there's an earthquake.
Right? So
I didn't mind COVID too much just because I'm kind of a homebody and, I went to Home Depot, went to the grocery store, went home. That was my life for like 18 months. And, my poor wife, man, she teaches school and she had...
I bet that was tough.
Well, suddenly she had like 3 classes. She had the ones that came to school, the ones that were on Zoom meetings all day, and then the ones that needed like remote learning. Yeah. More remote than Zoom. Yeah. Like offline. Yeah. Oh my God. It was like 3 jobs for the price of 1.
Yeah, and that's crazy because we all have heard that teachers.
Well, I hung out at home.
Yeah,
they don't get teachers don't get paid enough as it is.
Yeah, they don't get paid enough as it is, and they're the ones that are teaching the next generation. And I think there's something wrong with that, but
we need them to be paid better.
Yeah, we do.
My father spent his entire career from graduating from college to retirement working for the LA school district. Wow. LA City School District, which is the second biggest in the country after Chicago. Okay. And he was administrator and a principal but he used to give me the dad talk every once in a while. He would say, "Mike, whatever you do, don't go into education."
He's like, don't do what I do.
I love it, but it, some version of it ain't happening.
Yeah. I've always wanted to ask somebody this question, but I've had a few other friends that are actors and stuff like that. Nothing to your level, but is it weird that like your life story is kind of just on the internet for people to read? Yeah. Does that ever?
It's something that if it bothered me, I'd be bothered a lot. Yeah. Yeah. And when people approach me, saying, "Oh, you're that Brady guy. It happened today. I had a guy come to give me a bid on cutting down a big tree, and he looked at me and he goes, 'You're Bobby.'" Yeah. Yep.
And, I want to know if it was Treesus.
But anyway, the answer is it's weird, yes. Yeah. And if it bothered me, I'd be bothered all the time. So you'd have to make a life choice to just
ignore it.
But when it comes to the Brady Bunch specifically, nobody ever approaches me with any sort of bad attitude. Right. It's always I mean, we're talking 100%
I grew
over
up with
decades.
Yeah.
Everybody says thank you. You know, in some version of you made my childhood better.
Yeah.
And
That's awesome.
and thank you.
That's great.
So yeah, so I'm lucky in that way as well.
Yeah, I always found that kind of weird too, because we do this podcast and it's interesting when I'll meet some, or they'll hear my voice or something and say, "Oh, hey, I listened to your podcast," and then they instantly start telling me all these things they know about me, and I'm like,
Really?
I don't know your name
I
yet.
haven't had anybody approach me yet.
It's only happened like twice, but
Yeah.
both times it just strikes me as so weird, you know. And I'm sure that you get used to that over time, but
it's forced on you. Some people relish it and bathe in it and want nothing more than more of it.
yeah,
But if you're kind of if it wasn't something that you asked for when you were 9 years old,
yeah,
like I didn't,
yeah,
you know, I just wanted to be on the Pee Wee League football team, you know.
Yeah.
But instead I was on this iconic television show that's 50 years on and still a big deal.
Oh yeah.
You know?
I watched every episode as a kid.
They've probably. I think Kurt, you said that you were looking up statistics about how many times Brady Bunch has been played, and it's like over hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, so the show aired from 69 to 74, which is 5 years or 6 years, 5 years.
5. We did 5 seasons.
5 seasons, just 5 seasons, and you know, TV shows today they go for upwards to 20.
The Simpsons.
No, it's insane.
And it's nuts because the Brady Bunch had the capacity, I feel, to do 20 seasons, but it never did. But after a while, because I wasn't born until 78, so much later after the show ended, and I didn't start watching it until I was in, 10 years old.
Yeah.
10 years later, so I was watching reruns of the show 20 years after the show ended.
That's yeah.
I remember the TV I watched them on. It was black and white.
Yeah.
And it had this weird net speakers
those
in the
net
front.
speakers and a console like fake wood.
Yeah.
But I was reading a statistic on it that I found really interesting, that the episodes, all of the episodes, reran for over 100,000 times
Yeah.
over the years.
And I think everybody knows the Brady Bunch.
I got
you know?
I got paid for the first 10 of each reruns. The other 900,990.
No.
No.
No?
No. I tell you what, you guys, this is it's hard to believe, but I could do the math. I got paid more for Adventures in Babysitting.
Uh-huh.
With who was it? Elizabeth Shue was.
Yeah.
I got more money for Adventures in Babysitting, because they used a clip that Bobby was in the movie, than I did for the Brady Bunch.
Wow.
And neither one's very much.
Well, sure.
You'd be shocked.
Yeah.
Based on what any B actor makes in a B series today, you know, they get rich.
Oh yeah.
And you know, if you're an A actor, forget about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's actually another Brady show in the works. If we could get all these strikes resolved.
Yeah, that's exciting.
That is exciting.
Did I tell you that before?
You mentioned it. I don't.
It's the main reason why my hair is almost 2 feet long now. I blew past the George Carlin, ponytail, and now I'm like working on ZZ Top.
It's nice.
Or Almond. Who has the long hair? It's ZZ Top.
ZZ Top.
Yeah. Is it I sort of want to ask about the plot now.
I'm sure that's.
It is a Brady show, and I would still be Bobby.
The last one was what, 2021? I don't remember. Can't remember. There's
what did we do? What was it?
The Brady Bunch renovation, or
the HGTV show. We renovated the Brady house.
Oh, no kidding!
Oh, really?
That was wild.
I bet that was awesome.
I was so impressed with those people.
Huh.
They did such an amazing job. But now the people who live next door to that house and on that street, they're finally completely over it.
Yeah.
After that HGTV thing, because it was a big production.
Yeah, I'm sure.
We got an Emmy nomination.
That's amazing.
I'm gonna have to watch it.
Yeah.
It was fun. It recently, and HGTV didn't know what to do with it.
Uh-huh.
They even talked about moving it to like a theme park.
Wow.
Yeah, but anyway, it's just recently sold.
Oh, okay.
And the woman's gonna just Airbnb it.
That's probably
that's cool.
I remember like as a when I was younger, like going to see the Goonies house. You know, there's in Astoria.
I wanted to buy it. It was up for sale recently.
I know that the owners there were really cool. They just had a sign that said, take your pictures, but like don't come knock on the door.
Is it in the Avenues? Or
I think it's
the Goonies house is up in Oregon.
But they filmed some of the Goonies here.
Some of it
They
was
did,
here.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But the house is in Astoria, Oregon.
Yeah, it's in Astoria.
Oh,
Been to
okay.
it. Mm-hmm.
The lady would even come out like, "You want me to take the picture for you?" But I'm like, that has to get old if that's your full time residence.
The Brady Bunch house is the second most photographed residence in the country after the White House.
Where is it?
Wow.
It's in Studio City. Right? Like when you're looking on the establishing shot in the show, that hillside behind it, that hillside, the base of that hillside is Ventura Boulevard.
Okay.
And then there's the LA River and then the house.
Wow.
That was a nice house too, even for the show.
Oh, yeah, it was kind of cool.
Does anybody other than Mike know what Mike Brady's occupation was?
He was an architect.
That's
wasn't
right.
He?
He was an architect.
Architect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I watched every episode.
So did
Marsha.
You guys, the only other podcast I've actually participated in was I was a guest on Chris and Barry's podcast.
Yeah.
They have one that's called The Real Brady Bros. And I don't know why it took them like 80 episodes to invite me, but I've sat in with them three different times, and it's a hoot. What they do is they pick an episode, and kind of random, like just sometimes they take requests, and they will like analyze.
Oh, cool!
The whole hour is just this one episode.
That's cool.
That
So
is
we
cool.
did the Grand Canyon 3-parter.
Oh, okay.
When we went to the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I watched an episode today because I heard you're going to be on the show, so I was like, I'm going to pull up an episode and watch it. So I watched season 1, episode 2.
Oh, geez.
Which was the one where they put the payphone in.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's the second episode?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, because the first episode, the house, the pilot, the pilot episode, the house wasn't there yet. It wasn't a thing yet.
Yeah.
And because when you film back in the old, nowadays, if you sell a series, you don't really make the pilot and then try to sell it, for a season 1.
Yeah.
You sell the whole show and you get at least 8 or 9 episodes up front.
Right.
Back then, you would make a pilot like finished product, in the can, edited music, everything, and then shop it around. And so the time you can tell by looking at the youngest kids, which was me and Susan, that the lapse in calendar time between the pilot and the first episode of the first season is it's like half a year, almost, maybe even more. It might be 9 months.
So are you all still friends?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
very much so.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah. Maureen called me a couple days ago. I think it might have been a butt dial though.
Oops, didn't
How's she
know.
doing?
She's good.
Good.
She lives in LA.
Good.
They all live. I escaped to Utah as a young man, thinking I would go to college, go to the U for a couple of years, and then move back to my hometown.
Yeah.
And after 2 years of living in Salt Lake City, I had no desire to move back to LA, and I never did. And now, if I need to go, obviously, take Delta Airlines.
Yeah. Yeah.
To Burbank.
I've lived here my whole life, and I sometimes get people that are like, well, don't you want to see what it's like to live somewhere else? And I'm like, no, I love it here. I would be lost without the mountains,
Yeah.
I wouldn't know which direction I'm going.
You can, if you want to go to the beach,
fly.
You
just
go to
fly.
Mexico or Florida or whatever.
It's warmer there.
Yeah, so
Not as
I
crazy.
so I put down real deep roots. I met my wife at the U.
Yeah,
and,
that's cool.
And have lived here ever since.
So when you were younger and doing the Brady Bunch, did you have any idea like it was going to blow up, or was there a moment when you were like, oh, okay, everybody's seeing this now?
Yeah.
There was a moment. Oh, and what Kurt was saying about not watching it until he was older. We were a staple on Friday night between like the Partridge Family and Love American Style.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Watch those too.
But we were never like a blockbuster hit until it was on syndicated at 3 and 3:30 every afternoon,
After
Monday
school.
through Friday.
Oh,
After school
really?
is a thing that I watched.
That's how I know it
50 million American kids
Wow.
got home, made a PB&J, and sat down and watched the Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
That's when it
Just
became
described
huge.
my childhood.
Yeah, that's when it became huge.
Yeah.
And so there was a time, though, to answer your question, when we used to do what they called personal appearances.
Yeah.
You know, you just go plug the show, you know, and we went to a White Front. White Front was a Kmart in 1970.
Yeah.
It was a chain of departments, or not department. What's a Kmart? What would you
It
call
was like a department
They
store.
were
I would say.
White
Yeah.
Front,
Yeah.
like Target or
Like a five
or,
a dime or
yeah,
Big box
Or-
store
or-
maybe or something.
yeah.
yeah. It was they were called White Front. And they were a big chain.
Yeah.
Anyway, we went to a White Front and got, you know, what they call mobbed.
Oh, okay.
There was, you know, they like security had to like rush us out of there.
Yeah.
Because there was so many people showed
Wow.
up. And that, you asked if there was ever a time, if there was like a moment, that was a moment when I thought, because we weren't out in public together as a group, as a you know, here come the Brady Bunch in public.
Right.
We each had a home family, a real family, and a real school that we went to, and then we'd go to work at Paramount, make the show, and go home. And then, but one of the first times that we actually appeared in public as a group was like this event, you know, this massive, showing of just thousands of people showed up in this White Front parking lot. And that's when I knew.
You're like, okay,
Oh, yeah.
this everybody's
something
seen
happened
this.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that. The syndication time can probably make or break the success of any TV
Dude,
show.
I raced home from school. We didn't do homework until it was over.
Yeah,
Honestly.
That makes me happy to hear
Yeah.
that.
exactly. Yeah,
It was the thing that I ran home to go watch.
yeah. And I remember watching it. I didn't get like super into it, but I still have memories of sitting down and watching it on that same type of TV that you're talking about. We had a giant TV
Yeah.
in the cabinet that took like 7 people to move.
The
when we
big
got
knobs.
rid of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that the channel counter was analog. It only went to
It was,
13.
yeah.
You know, and that was even a
Move
newer
the antennas
TV.
every now and then.
When it was originally shot, was it in color? Did it start from color?
Yeah.
Okay.
We
I had
were
a-
kind of on the, not quite the cutting edge, but
Yeah.
you know what was at Paramount was the, like, just bits and pieces of sets and props from Star Trek.
Oh, really?
Because we came in right after they had just gotten canceled.
That's kind of cool.
And I swear, it was like way cool. But I had no idea, you know.
Yeah.
You just don't know. It's junk to them in 1969.
Sure.
It was, you know, it was useful in 1968. 1969, it's in the way.
Yeah, exactly.
And now in 2023,
Probably worth a lot of money.
Captain Kirk's chair, and we were the freaking $1 million.
Yeah, no kidding. That's another thing that I always thought funny about the movies is that sometimes when they do become these cult classic hits, you know, these legendary shows, that the weirdest things become worth money. You know, like
Right.
True.
like shoes or
The shoes
iconic.
that
Like
Spock wore.
You know that in the opening sequence of the Mod Squad, when they're running down that hallway and there's like puddles and they're running down like this alleyway. It looks like this corridor. That was the wall library at Paramount.
Oh, okay.
Like if you needed a wall,
Yeah.
you just go grab it out of the library, put it on a dolly, wheel it over to your set, and all the random walls in different parts of the Enterprise were there, like the little panel that Scotty would stand
That's
at,
cool.
you know, and
How many walls were there?
It's a wall library.
Yeah.
the interior
All
of
of
the
them.
ship was that sky blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were lots of those, but.
Man.
Like in the Brady Bunch, like in Driscoll's toy store,
Yeah.
you know, you never really saw the front or just two walls that form a right angle.
Yeah.
You know, those were
That's all you
walls
needed.
that they just yank out of the wall library.
Huh.
That's one thing I
interesting.
learned when I was 9 years old was that it's all fake, baby.
Yeah.
Your clothes are fake. Your words you're saying are fake.
Yeah.
Your makeup is fake,
Yeah.
and the walls are fake.
Yep. But
And you were on Little House on the Prairie on. Was it-
I did one episode
One
of Little
episode.
House on the Prairie, and Michael Landon said, You're
I just
going
want to hear about Michael Land, and I had to
Michael
ask.
Landon. Michael Landon came.
He was
to
my
me.
crush.
Really?
Yes.
His reputation as being like the nicest guy in the world
Yeah.
was real.
Yes, that's what I hear.
He came to me afterwards and said, "You're going to be a love interest. You're going to be a recurring role. You're going to be a love interest for Melissa Sue Anderson, and you live in the next town over." And I said,
Cool.
"Okay, thumbs
Yeah.
up." And then she went blind and moved to Chicago and went blind, and I never saw me again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Aw.
So that's the vagaries of,
Yeah.
of, you know, 1 minute you're on top of the world talking to Michael Landon. The next minute you're we did the Brady Bunch variety hour. Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, I think that like Laura's totally having like a fan.
I am, yeah.
Like,
He was my crush
Yeah.
growing up. Little House on the Prairie, I watched every episode.
I
too.
watched a lot of that too.
Well, I told you guys I could talk for
And
like forever.
let's see, he was Little
Yeah, that's
Joe
fun.
on. Can't remember the name of
Bonanza.
Bonanza. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I bet that was, oh man, it's just like, I've tried to put myself like what I would feel like in your shoes, you know, being young and like, oh, I'm filming this awesome movie. And then having that moment hit me where it's like, oh, okay, everybody has seen this.
Mm-hmm.
Would you get recognized pretty easily when you'd walk around and stuff?
I remember just
mean, you
one
still
little anecdote. I remember going ice skating. There was a skating rink that we would go to, and people would harass me and not. I mean,
yeah.
it was never a bad thing, but I couldn't be like just left alone as a
Yeah.
teenager.
Yeah.
I remember one time attempting a disguise, going ice skating with my 8th or 9th grade girlfriend.
Yeah.
And it was a fail.
Yeah.
Total fail.
That's kind of tough too, because I didn't think about that those are the years when you want to be outside and going to do stuff, and then if like the entire country's seen your face, it's like, I'm sure that does get old. Like, I just want to go out and eat dinner or whatever, but part of the job.
So you escaped LA, not necessarily acting, though. It wasn't the acting that you were trying to get away from.
I think the notoriety and the eyes always on you, and the expectation to perform and do the next thing. And I'm 17 and kind of looking at the Screen Actors Guild is the most unemployed union like in the history of the world.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think part of what you're asking for me was a pragmatic decision.
Mm-hmm.
Like I did really well in the math and science in high school. And I fancied myself becoming a chemical engineer or a computer scientist or something.
Yeah.
And the Grateful Dead got it promptly in the way of that.
Yeah.
But
And a girl that you met at the U.
yeah, right.
Yep.
I saw it as a practical decision. Like I said, most actors are unemployed.
Mm-hmm.
They do something else for a living.
Yeah.
Of course, you know of all the ones that aren't unemployed because
Sure.
they're famous.
Yeah, they're on TV all the time.
But most of them don't get there.
Yeah.
And they struggle, for lack of a better word. But I just saw getting out of LA and getting a degree at the U as more of a path to not be poor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That makes
Path
perfect
away
sense.
from poverty.
Yeah. That, like you said, I think
Because I didn't get paid very much at the Brady Bunch.
Yeah, and like you said, it's hard to. You're gonna constantly have to keep up with that if you want to make it as an actor. You always have to have the next thing, and you've always got to.
Yeah.
And then 1 second you're on top of the world, the next you're unemployed, and you're looking for the next thing, and you never know when that's gonna come. We have a friend of ours, Dale McKeel, who is he's an actor here in Salt Lake City too, but he's done a few shows. I think one made it to the theater this last year, which was cool. But he tells me about that all the time, and he's got a day job that he uses, but he just really loves acting, so he'll put.
That's kind of like what I was getting at with the music.
Yeah.
We're 5 guys who, except for me, recently retired.
Yeah.
We all have normal jobs.
Yeah, that's what you got to do.
And so it isn't about the money. I was never. You're talking about a person who has this drive to be an actor.
Yeah.
I have a pent up enthusiasm for performing live music.
Yep, and that does go hand in hand.
It took me till I was 17 to figure out that acting is a craft, as they say.
Yeah.
And because all I ever had to do was stand there and say my lines and be a kid.
Yep. Yeah.
And when I realized that acting was like not easy, it was a shock.
Yeah. Like, I'm out of here. Let's go do something else.
It really isn't. But neither is anything if you don't want to do it well.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
Yeah.
And I think that it's really important to play music just because you want to play it, because the same thing as acting. I remember I played in a number of bands where people were like, oh, we're going to go on tour, we're going to get signed by the label, and then we're going to be touring all around. And the reality was I was going to school during that time and about to graduate with my bachelor's degree in computer science. And so I always looked at it as, well, while you guys are still trying to figure this out, I'm going to go make sure that I have a future, and then let me know how it works out.
Yeah.
Never that mean, obviously, but I just kind of did the same thing. I thought that maybe it would be cool to be, famous in a band or something, but definitely happy that, I chose the path that I did. And I think
good.
Yeah.
And you still get to play the drums.
And I still get to play the drums, yeah. Yeah, I'm not very good, but I play.
I have, when I hear people say, no regrets, man, no regrets, I'm like, dude, come on. I have 1,000 regrets. I have 1,000,000 regrets. But hanging out in Salt Lake City for the vast majority of my life is not one of them.
Yeah, no kidding. This place is awesome.
It is awesome.
If you made it this far, we still have to tell you about
tickets.
How you can get these tickets to the Pranksters, November 10th, 7 p.m. If you want to go see Mike, this is how you do it. I got word from Taylor today that the tickets are pretty hot. So
ooh, nice.
We'll see.
See, I hadn't heard that.
That's what he told me.
Awesome.
And we have 2 to give away.
And we've got 2 of them to give away. And we talked about how to do this. Not everybody's on Instagram, so you can send us an email at contact@theweeklyInsult.com, or but by the time this comes out, we'll have an Instagram post that you can comment on, and then we'll put all your names into a hat and we'll draw one. So
yeah.
It's a very cool place. If you haven't been inside, you're bound to like it. And you don't have to like the Grateful Dead to come see us play, but you do have to listen to it for 3.5 hours.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. They've got plenty of stuff there. They got concessions and.
Oh, I didn't tell my Jerry Garcia story.
Oh, yeah, hit us with it.
Jerry, I've heard Jerry quoted as saying, "The Grateful Dead is kind of like licorice. Not everybody likes licorice, but the ones that do like it a lot."
Yeah.
That is so true.
Yeah, that is.
That's how we all got to be Deadheads.
That's so awesome. And it's always great to see just, people getting together, playing music that they love, and just having a good time. That's what it's about anyway.
I went to see Molly Tuttle at she played at the Commonwealth Room. She's bluegrass, really, really hot, just amazing. Anyway, it freaked me out that I didn't know anyone in there.
Yeah.
I mean, they were all perfectly nice, and they all looked like me and acted normal.
Yeah.
But I'm so used to when I go to to see local music.
Yeah.
I always know at least a third of the people there.
Yeah.
Like know them well. Like they're my pals, And at Molly Tuttle, I didn't know anybody, and it weirded me out so bad. But don't worry. You don't have to know us. We will. You are welcome.
Yeah, I will be there.
I will be there.
Going to be there.
Kurt's going to be there, right?
Yeah, I'll be there.
And then you can come see us if you get those tickets too, and see Mike. Mike, thank you so much for being on the show.
Cool.
It was a pleasure to meet you. Really appreciate it. We'll be at the show on Friday. We end the show in a really weird way that we didn't prep you for, but basically I say this has been your weekly insult, and then we just get up and walk out the door.
The clap of thunder and lightning, like I was listening to an episode last night to prep for this, and I had my headphones on. They're noise canceling, so I'm like isolated in my in my little bubble. And when that clap of thunder hit, I literally jumped out of my chair. I jumped because I wasn't expecting it, and it was it was high fidelity.
Yeah,
Thanks to Kurt over here.
Wanted to get That's like a placeholder because hopefully one day we'll have something more official from the Pearl that we put there. But I'm
Okay.
like, I got to put something. But I always wondered if I'm freaking the shit out of everybody.
Well, you did. I want to be the first to tell you that
That
I
wasn't-
literally jumped up.
That wasn't my intention. I'll turn down the volume on it.
Turn down the volume.
But thank you so much. We just leave everything in here and walk out and we're
Yeah,
good. So this
we
has
have-
been your weekly InSalt with Mike. Thank you so much.
InSalt. Done.
Thank
That's a
you
wrap.
again so much. Sorry, we didn't prep you because we just went straight through the break.